Hello Mzansi, welcome to the Farmers Inside Track podcast. My name is Duncan Masiwa and I'm back with another episode in our Meet the Farmer Mentor series. How does a pharmacist end up running a thriving 335 hectare farm? Meet Vumile Mzinzi, the Eastern Cape trailblazer who balances managing a community pharmacy with cultivating yellow maize and sugar beans. Mzinzi shares his 14-year journey of grit, resilience and innovation, from farming without financial assistance for over a decade to finally securing funding and scaling up. Discover how his medical expertise shapes his approach to soil health, crop rotation and financial management, and why he believes that caring for your employees is as important as caring for the land.
Vumile, it is lovely finally being able to have a conversation with you. Your background is you started out as a pharmacist, you're still practicing. How does a pharmacist end up in the agricultural sector and as a farmer?
Good afternoon, Duncan. Thank you so much for having me today. I grew up as a farmer under my father because my father is a farmer. Basically, as you grow up under your father who's farming, you always learn what he does. Even if the father is not a farmer, whatever the father does, you always as a son, especially as a first son, learn what the father does.
Second generation.
Yeah. We can maybe say second generation, even though my father never farmed commercially before. My father lost a job in 1995. He moved back home and then he got a farm and then he occupied the farm until 2002. By that time, we were farming in the late 1990s. I was also a very good farmer by that time. In my early teen years, I really loved farming. And then I went to varsity, fortunately, with my father, thinking that while I was doing pharmacy, I was doing farming. But yes, I was doing pharmacy. When I came back, it was kind of a situation. The love for farming again revived. You know, when you grow up in rural areas, where you do farming and then you feel this is a struggle kind of thing. You are forced to do things. We do things manually. It's kind of, you just have to do it because it's a thing that we do at home. But when I was back and done with varsity, got own money, working. And then again, I reflected and then I felt like, man, I love farming. That's where it started to boil inside me. And then we started farming with my father. As from 2014 onwards, in 2020, I came full-time to do farming with my father as a partner now.
I know you're quite still involved in the pharmacy business. You are a commercial crop farmer based in the Eastern Cape. Take us through exactly what your farming portfolio looks like. What exactly do you farm there in the Eastern Cape?
Like I narrated my background while I was young, my father was doing potatoes. So potatoes is one of the things that I love so much as the crops that we do. Currently, we've got potatoes in 50 hectares and maize 100 hectares, soybeans in 120 hectares. Back then, we used to plant sugar beans. That's another crop that I used to love very much. It's got challenges, but we moved to potatoes. I think we're still going to plant sugar beans in the coming season. I'm lucky that I'm a pharmacist, still a farmer, but I'm more like a farmer. I've got a pharmacy by lucky because I narrated my bringing up. I learned how to do business. Fortunately enough, I opened my own pharmacy. Now I've got a pharmacy that I own. I've got another pharmacist that is practicing as a pharmacist while I'm practicing as a farmer. So that's how it is.
Silly question. How does your medical experience enhance the way you farm, if at all?
Yes, look, this is one of those things that I'm very fortunate with because as a farmer, plant health, you have to deal with chemicals. Fertility as well, you have to deal with fertilizers, which is science as well. So that helps a lot. We do a lot of soil corrections. We do a lot of soil improvement in terms of fertility, putting nutrients that are needed because we are not like as emerging farmers or black farmers because we work on the lands that have not been worked for many, many years. So we have to do those corrections and as well the plant health as well. So the pharmacy part helps a lot on that.
So yellow maize, sugar beans across over 350 hectares. What does your intercropping strategy look like? How do you approach that?
There is nothing easy. Out of all what I've been saying here, nothing is easy at all. But we are lucky at our company or farming business because we're farming close to commercial farmers. We've got our agronomist, we've got a chemical specialist, even though I've got a bit of a knowledge. I've done mechanization ever since we started operating our own tractors. I cope well because of that. I've got a lot of support around me, including the colleagues that I work with. As a farmer, you must always learn every day, always willing to go to any farmer around you that is doing well. That's what I do. I've learned the systems, mechanization, marketing, plant health. I just try to learn every day to improve our business.
Obviously, your father having been a subsistence farmer, you took it a step further and commercialized the business. Talking about markets, how did you approach that? Setting up those markets, building those relationships. I can't imagine it having been easy, especially with your background being in medicine. When you go to these organizations, they'll probably ask you, but what is your experience? How did you handle that? And maybe take us through some of the experiences that you had.
In terms of negotiating, in terms of business relations, it's most important thing that any person that is doing business, you must always be good at it and you always be an honest person, always meet your targets. Don't overestimate yourself. It's the situation that brings you to death because you might find out at the end of the season you can't pay somebody that you promise you're going to pay. So that's my rule. I always try to make sure whatever I promised, I'm going to meet it. Starting with the creditors, when I go in with my father, I started having accounts with Bayer, as Monsanto, Pana, and even the chemical shop, Farmers Agricare. We started working with those people, promising that, okay, look, if you give me 90 days, if you give me 30 days, if you give me even 10 days, I will make sure that we pay that amount of money. So it started like that. Even on the other side of the business, the farmers, which is not farming. So it's always about making sure I'm not running away from anybody. I'm meeting my targets. And then that makes the business grow. That is why it's been a journey that is nice to look at. It's tough, but it's a nice journey because I can still always get the seeds from Monsanto anytime I want because they know that if I promise something, I will do it. More or less, same thing with Pana and Omnia, you can name, but few.
Relationships are definitely important. So after you've harvested your yellow maize and your sugar beans, where do they go? Who's your markets?
That's another thing that we have to look at is small farmers or emerging farmers. We are advised to look for local market. Local market, you need to maintain that. Going to contracts that you're going to sustain. But there is market that is there, that is already working, as a middleman. That market is a market that we should, as a substantial farmer, you start doing. Because once you start those markets that wants to do contracts, those ones, they want you to provide them for the whole year and then we can't do that. And then you end up not getting any contracts. Once you don't meet the targets, definitely they're going to kick you out. The only thing that helps us as the small farmers, you must go to the co-ops. They have already systems that are working there. Contract your maize. You've got the markets for fresh produce. Go promise them, send your trucks, send your produce to them. They will sell it. That is the way of starting up. Once you establish yourself and then everybody knows you, you are in the level of detecting the price and everything else. You are in the level of signing contracts the way you know how you do things, you see, because now you know yourself that you are capable of producing so much of a tons that can sustain the market that you're selling for so long. Then you can be able to negotiate.
Vumile, agriculture is not an easy industry. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of losses. What have been some of those moments in your life where you were close to giving up and throwing in the towel? Take us back to those moments.
Farming has many, many challenges. Every season, I must tell you, there is a challenge. There was a time where we insured our crop over 300 hectares. And then you pay over 1 million. And then there is no hail. The tonnage is wet, there is drought, and then you feel like the million that I just paid is a loss, it's a waste. Then following year, you don't insure. You're saying, no, well, man, we don't have a hail here in our area, so I can't lose the same million that I lost last year. And then, unfortunately, that year the hail comes, and then it wipes you over 50% of your produce. And then you feel like, what must I do now? Following year again, there is a drought and then the cartworm. Here you get a fund that is like Land Bank, the Planet Finance, you got Porado SA along, and then you plant and your produce crops germinates well, and then within 2 or 3 days, everything is wiped off by a cartworm. And you feel like, how is the funder if I can't pay the money that is even have a grant section and then I can't pay it back. And then it's a situation like that. And then you feel like, oh, man, this thing is not working. But yeah, fortunately, we survived by all these times, but we failed to make any more marginable profits that can actually grow our business as we wanted. But yeah, we are in the right track at the moment. We recovered. It's exciting to be farming again. We know there will be challenges.
How do you bounce back from that, facing challenges season after season after season? How were you able to even bounce back?
If you're a farmer, you must have a passion. You must have a passion about farming, because if you don't have a passion about farming, you're going to quit. We always quit every day. Tomorrow, we start farming again. We start stronger than yesterday. Today, something else might happen, and then I feel like, man, I have to give up now. But tomorrow, it's like nothing ever happened bad to our farming. So it's like that. You must have a passion as a farmer.
I had a conversation with a farmer. She says that she resigns from her company every now and then she just employs herself because it's passion. You eventually have to come back to it, and there's people that's dependent on the success of your farming enterprise at the end of the day. I'm wondering, how do you define success on your farm? What are the things that you look at that tells you I'm on the right track?
There are a lot of things. We started with my father with one tractor. I've got 8 tractors at the moment. Every time I look at where we started with 20 hectares. We're planting over 500 hectares at the moment. We are leasing a lot of lands, but still I feel like with no time we'll own a lot of lands. We will have production facilities like processing and so on. I feel like we will provide more sustainable jobs at our farming. It's been good. When I got to the farming, my father used to pay people by hands and say, look, man, I'm going to pay you on the 30th. I'm like, these people, how can they be happy if they are paid on the 31st? Then you actually pay them on the 5th. And then they say for the last 5 years, we've been doing very well. We've been compliant with SARS. We've been doing UIF. We have employees that are happy, are paid on time. So there are a lot of positive things. So it's been very, very tough, but it's been good. We're from somewhere. We can see where we're from. We are another level at the moment.
And I suppose that's a purpose, you want to see that you have grown over a period of time. What does the next 5 years look like for Vumile and his farming business in the Eastern Cape?
The next 5 years, like I mentioned, we are looking at getting more lands, own them, rather than farming at the leased lands, having our own storage, having our own processing plants. Those things is the things that we are looking at in the coming years. We grow every year. We are about to get a combine that we are buying under Planet Finance. We managed to settle the big tractor that we bought 2 years ago, 2023. I mean, that on its own is an achievement to us. We've got an 8R tractor that is supposed to be paying in 6 years. We paid it in 2 years. We are really, really great. We are in the right track. One day we're going to own that big land and we're going to have those production facilities like storages, like our own brand as a farmer that sells direct to the market. Doesn't go to the third man, second person or the agents to say we've got our own storage facility. We're no longer selling to the co-ops. We manage to sell for the whole year, not just the season.
Yeah. There's someone that's listening. They might be sitting at home after a tough day on the farm or they're somewhere in their tractor going through their lands, what are some of the things that you say would or have contributed to your success as a farmer? What are those things that you can pinpoint?
Let's say, first one, you must have a passion as a farmer. You must be honest to yourself, be a hard worker, because farming, there are times that you wake up at 5 o'clock, you don't see your kids, you don't see anybody else at home, you just come in. It's like you're sleeping alone, but there are people that you're staying with. You must understand that it's going to happen to you. Learn the system. The learners, they have the same requirement. Just learn the system, because I learned the system. From 2014, I've been applying. I know what is needed. It's going to be same. It will never change. There is nobody. You're going to just jump in and write a business plan and write 1, 2, 3, and then you get money. Learn the system. Be honest with yourself. Have a passion. Work hard. Those are the fundamental things that you must have as a farmer, as a business person.
Have passion and learn the system. Understand industry that you operate in. Vumile, it has been lovely chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us on our podcast platform. And I hope to come visit your farm in 5 years to see some of the things that you've implemented, talking to us here today. All the best with the amazing work that you do.
Thank you so much, Duncan. I appreciate. Well, I'm not a speaker. I'm a farmer and a hard worker. I like listening. I like reading. I like doing things. But I feel like at some point I feel the coming up farmers if I don't talk about my story. I hope this is a start. I was a farmer of the year in 2022. I got a buggy from Toyota. So there have been a lot of people who want to see what I'm doing. Come to our farm in Yugi. I will show you. I've got other farmers as well that I go to and see everybody. How is he doing? The white commercial farmers, black commercial farmers around us, they are very, very willing. Those people, I learn from them every day. They are open to actually show you everything that they do. I know you've been asking to speak with me. I'm a busy person. As well as you can see that I'm not a very strong presenter. So there's the other thing running away from you. Like, this guy is going to ask me to talk now.
I think this is probably one of the most real conversations that I've had in a very long time.
I appreciate people who come to our farm and see what we do.
That was, of course, Vumile Mzinzi, commercial crop farmer in the Eastern Cape. You can, of course, read more on this topic by visiting www.foodformzansi.co.za. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss any of the episodes. From me, Duncan Masiwa, our technical producer, Megan van der Vent, and the rest of #Team Food for Mzansi, thanks for listening.